Hello, Forever family, and welcome to today's Product Power Hour. I'm Holly Stout, Vice President of Global Product Development here at Forever Living Products, and it's my privilege and my honor to get to work with a team of talented scientists, doctors, and chemists from around the world to formulate and work on the products that we eventually launch and bring to the forever world. I'm joined today by our esteemed scientist, Dr. Peter Pressman, who is a member of our Scientific Advisory Board, and today our topic is Vitamins Uncapped. We're going to take a deep dive inside some of those daily necessities, and we're going to talk about the science, we're going to talk about format, and Dr. Pressman is going to bring that amazing scientific evidence as well as speak with that authority. He's been a scientist and a doctor for Dr. Pressman. I won't tell your age, but I know that you've been in the industry for a very, very long time, and he works with our talented scientists from around the world as well. So welcome, Dr. Pressman. It's always an honor to have you on our Product Power Hour.
Thank you so much, Holly. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a real privilege.
Dr. Pressman, if you recall, I sent you some of the Forever Living formulas or recipes, if you will, for some of our daily essential nutrients. That would include our Forever Daily, our Forever Nature Min, Forever Immune Gummy, Forever Calcium, and our Vitalize for Men and Vitalize for Women. And Dr. Pressman had the opportunity of looking at these recipes. He gets to see 1 to 100% of every nutrient and every ingredient in these formulas. And we designed a series of questions for him so that he can speak to the integrity and the science in these supplements, as well as dose and format. And we're even going to talk about when to take these supplements. So let's go ahead and dive right in, Peter. I am going to ask you the very first question. When we're looking at daily nutrition, does the format of the vitamin or mineral, meaning the form, does that really matter when it comes to absorption or function or results?
The answer is yes, no question about it. But let me pull back for just a second.
Great.
And so we're all on the same page on the basics. Let's talk about nutrition and vitamins, nutritional supplements as a subset of good nutrition and smart living. So nutrition in the broadest sense, I would say is one of the strongest and most agile, most adjustable factors that can be used to support and promote health, and to reduce the burden of disease during an individual's entire life. Nutrition is slow and steady. We're not talking about drugs here, which are fast and dramatic. We're talking about something that builds foundation, that builds resilience, and that builds a robust kind of resistance to illness of all kinds, both the communicable, the contagious, and the non-communicable. And I would say further that we need to make a distinction when we talk about vitamins. And let me preface this by saying this is a very dynamic area for research and development at this point. But we need to make a distinction between nutrient inadequacies and nutrient deficiencies. This is really a big deal. And I'll get to your question, I promise.
Oh, no, this is a perfect setup. I appreciate this, where you're talking about healthy nutrition. I love that you said smart living, healthy living, right? We're talking about complementing good diet, a balanced lifestyle. And I love that you're pulling back a little bit and really exploring what that means before we dive into what we're doing about it. So go ahead and proceed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You framed that beautifully. And I think that when we talk about micronutrient or vitamin, mineral, electrolyte inadequacies, we're talking about the intake of nutrients in lesser quantity than the estimated average requirement. These are the kinds of problems we see in the United States. We see this in the developed world. We're not talking about situations in which we're looking at abject poverty or areas where there is great hostility. we're talking about right now inadequacies. These occur when the intake of a nutrient is above the deficiency level, but below the recommended dietary intake. So,
Mm.
unlike deficiencies, which lead to clinically evident symptoms, um, florid malnutrition, we're talking about hidden symptoms that affect the way our physiology adapts to the stresses and strains of modern life. I'll give you an example here. Uh, we talk about WHO, for example. The World Health Organization estimates that somewhere between 70 and 80 million children around the world suffer from the inadequacy of
Mm.
vitamin A.
Hmm.
Uh, in other words, in medicine, the lingo is subclinical deficiency. So,
Mhm.
subclinical deficiency means that there are no apparent clinical symptoms, but what happens is that children who suffer that kind of inadequacy have higher infection susceptibility,
Mm.
have reduced physical growth.
Mm.
And so we're not talking about in the realm of deficiency, that vitamin A deficiency might manifest itself as frank blindness. That's not what we're
Mm.
talking about here. We're not talking
Right.
about the treatment of serious disease. Malnutrition, significant malnutrition, is a serious disease state.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a complex disease state. We're talking about um, being able to live in the fast-paced world that we function in typically, where we're not eating regularly or properly, where we may be suffering from micronutrient deficiencies and our resistance to both infectious illness, viruses, um, and our resistance to things like metabolic syndrome, hyperglycemia, and
Mm.
even frank diabetes. These things are real issues that we see with inadequacies. So,
Sure.
nutrient inadequacies is what we're trying to compensate for here.
So, would it be fair then, Dr. Pressman, to maybe say that deficiencies are kind of into that category where you could go into drug necessity, and inadequacies are really where you have the supplement or the complement to that healthy lifestyle, where maybe you are eating generally well, but you still, just because of the food source or the way we're growing our food, you might not be able to get an adequate amount of those micronutrients we're talking about. So it'd be fair to say that the inadequacies are where supplementation comes into play. And when you go into those extreme deficiencies, that's where drugs come into play. Is that a fair statement?
Perfect. Absolutely
Great.
perfect. You're ready for your
Great.
residency.
Great. I love it. Well, then let's talk then. We have here at Forever Living Products, as you know, we're a health and wellness company, and we're founded on principles of integrity, high quality, scientifically supported formulations. And when we look at creating dietary supplements to meet a global population, that's a daunting task where we're providing a multivitamin designed for really any and everybody who may have what you mentioned, an inadequacy in some of those micronutrients. So when you look at some of the formulas at Forever Living Products, and we look at how we use scientific evidence to formulate, when we choose certain forms of vitamins or certain forms of minerals, does that matter? Does it make the body more readily available to use those? Does it really matter?
It does matter. We're talking about here how you complex the bioactive element, the particular vitamin with another compound such as a salt, or you phosphorylate it, or you do various things to optimize the bioavailability, as we call it, of that vitamin, so that it is absorbed in the way it must be absorbed. rather than sloughed off as waste. Um, the other piece of this that I want to that I want to mention here before it sort of slides by the wayside is the rationale for what I really love about what Forever has designed in the supplements, the rationale for targeted supplements. And I'm thinking in particular of the Vitalize for women and the Vitalize for men. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Nutritional requirements change during the course of life.
Mm-hmm.
They change by gender. Gender requires certain supports for optimal functioning. The life course dictates particular requirements. During fetal development, infancy, and childhood, when growth is at a maximum, development is accelerated. Micronutrient intake is much higher with respect to body size than you see in older individuals.
Mm-hmm.
In adolescence, and healthy young adults, where you see a great deal of activity, exercise levels are usually very high. We see the loss of water soluble vitamins that need to be replaced. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we really need to think about the fastest growing segment of our population, in older individuals, where the requirement of certain nutrients like vitamin D increases, while other
Mm-hmm.
nutrient requirements considerably decrease, particularly according to gender. Males do not require iron typically. In
Mm-hmm.
fact,